Hello everyone and welcome to Journey with the Kellers. My name is Amanda Keller and today we are back in the Keller kitchen. So today we are going to be making something from the Unofficial Harry Potter cookbook. Today's recipe is going to be part of the 4 scrumptious cakes. So this is the third cake in the 4 scrumptious cakes. This one is Custard Sponge Sandwich from Hagrid. I can't talk today, I guess. Okay, so basically what you're going to do first is make the cake itself and cook that, and then we will make a custard filling for it. Now that custard filling does have to be cooked on the stove and then cooled in the refrigerator. So pretty much as soon as I get this cake in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and come back and make the custard so that it can be cooling, and hopefully the cake and the custard will be cooling at the same time, okay? All right, so here we go. So first you're gonna need a medium-sized bowl. You're gonna go ahead, and you need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. All right, 350 for the oven. The couple things that you will need to pull out ahead of time is you need 1.5 sticks of butter at room temperature. You're also going to need 3 large eggs at room temperature as well, okay? So you'll wanna set those out ahead of time. The only other thing that you will probably want to do ahead of time is you're going to need 2 8-inch cake pans. You need to grease them completely. I usually use shortening. If you want to use butter or whatever, that's up to you. And then you're going to put in the bottom some parchment paper. Now, I think I keep telling you guys for some reason, and I don't know why, that when you do your line for the parchment paper to flip your pan over, but you really don't have to do that. You can also trace the outside of the bottom. I don't know why I kept telling you to flip it over. Brain just has a malfunction, I guess, on that. But you can just set this on top of a piece of parchment paper, trace with a pen or a pencil around the bottom as close as you can get to it, and then take it off and cut inside of the lines. You're actually cutting into the circle just a smidge. You just want to make sure you're taking that pen or pencil mark off. So cut inside that line, and then I always flip the piece of paper over or the piece of parchment paper over when I put it in here, just in case there is any pen or pencil marks on it that I didn't get cut off and I didn't see. And then you're just gonna put that in the bottom of your pan and you're ready to go, okay? All right, so pretty simple. All right, so what you're gonna do next is you're going to take your flour, ooh, my egg's rolling away, which you need 1.5 cups of flour. So we've got 1, 1.5. Okay, then you're going to add to this your baking powder, which you need 1 teaspoon. Okay, and also 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay, and it says to whisk that together. Okay, so we're just gonna whisk that together quickly. And you're just gonna set that to the side for now, okay? Now this next part, you can either use an electric hand mixer or a stand mixer. I'm using a stand mixer, but it's up to you. If you don't have a stand mixer, use an electric mixer. You could probably also use your hands, just a lot more work, okay? All right, so what you're gonna do is either with an electric mixer or in a stand mixer, and in a separate bowl, not in the same bowl you just put your flour and everything in, you're going to put in your 1.5 sticks of butter that are at room temperature. If I can get these open, there we go. So there is 1, and then the 1/2, okay. And you're gonna add to this 1 cup of granulated sugar. There we go. And then you're going to basically beat this together until it's light and fluffy. And don't forget to scrape down the sides of the bowl as you're beating it. You know, stop it, scrape down the sides of the bowl, beat it some more. Make sure you get everything in there. And you need to do it until it's light and fluffy, which will probably take somewhere around 3 to 5 minutes, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done, and then I will come back and show you guys what we're gonna add to this next, okay? I'll be right back. All right, you guys, so this is all nice and whipped up. Let me give you guys a quick peek here. It kind of looks like either like whipped butter or even kind of like the whipped, what do they call it? Whipped frosting, but it just kind of looks a little bit more granulated, and that's it. So that's all nice and light and fluffy, okay? And what you're gonna do next is you are going to add your 3 eggs that are at room temperature, one at a time, and you're gonna make sure that each one gets mixed in, okay? So you're supposed to kind of beat it after each one. So I'm gonna have it on low, put one in there, and turn it up a little bit, okay? That looks pretty good. We're going to turn it back down to low, add our second egg. And again, turn it up. Okay, that looks good. This time I'm going to shut it off because it does need to have the sides scraped down. It's all kind of getting stuck up there. So we're gonna go ahead and scrape down the sides. You can do this as needed. So if you start seeing where it looks like a lot of it's kind of getting stuck on the sides and you know, it doesn't look like that stuff's really getting into the mixture, then you know, go ahead and stop it for a minute and just scrape everything down. I usually give the bottom a little bit of a scrape too, just to make sure. Okay, that back in there, there we go. All right, turn this back onto a low. And we're gonna add our third egg. There we go. And again, turn it up. Throw these away here. Okay, looking good. Okay, so once that third one is all nice and incorporated, you're gonna turn it back down again because now you're gonna add your flour mixture. And of course, if you add this while it's going really fast, you're just gonna have a big poof of flour, okay? So we're just gonna go ahead and add this in there. Try not to make a mess. I almost always seem to do. That's okay. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and let that mix on slow speed until it's combined, okay? Okay, it's looking pretty good. Let's get this out of the way here. All right, so once it's looking pretty good and combined, you can go ahead and take the bowl off because this last part, it wants you to do it by hand. And of course, there's stuff up on top and all that. So we're gonna scrape this all down. Trying to make sure we get most of the flour that's loose off. Okay. In there. Okay, there we go. All right, now as you can see, when you're looking at this bowl, see all that flour and stuff up here along the edge? So that's what you're gonna take care of now. And it says to basically do it by hand, which isn't hard. You just use your scraper, scrape down the side of the bowl real good. And like I said, I usually do the bottom as well, just to make sure that everything's getting mixed in. And then you're gonna fold everything kind of together. Make sure that all that flour that you scraped down is getting nice and mixed in, okay? And it's looking good, you guys. Looks just like a cake. Well, cake batter, I should say. Okay. All right, there we go. Beautiful, okay? All right, so let me wash my hands real quick because they're a little bit sticky. All right, so now that you've gotten that all mixed up, now you're going to need your 2 little 8-inch pans that are greased and got parchment paper on them. All right, and you're gonna try to divide the batter evenly into these, okay? Now, usually I use a measuring cup to do that. You know, you guys can do it. Oops, the little thing came off of there and I didn't see it. You guys can do it whatever way you're comfortable with. If you think you can just kind of plunk it in there and make it pretty even, that's up to you. I usually just get like my smallest measuring cup, which is like 1/4 of a cup. Just kind of pile it in there. So one for that one for this one. And I'm gonna keep doing this, and then once I get it all in there and it feels like it's pretty even between the two pans, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, just kind of smooth them out so that they're smoothed out across the pan. Okay? Ooh, some fell on my cabinet. So once you get that done, you're gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven. I don't know that this is the right scraper for this. There we go. But you're gonna go ahead and pop these in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. They can be tested with a toothpick to make sure that they're done. So if you put a toothpick in it and it comes out clean, then they should be done. But they also should have golden brown edges, but the tops of the cakes will be pale, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these finished, get stuff in here, get it smoothed out, and then pop them in the oven for about 20 minutes. And then I will be right back once I get these in the oven to show you guys how we make the custard, okay? So I'll be back in just a minute. Guys, so I have both of the cakes here ready to go into the oven. So they're going in at 350 degrees for 20 minutes, okay? Once they're done cooking and you've checked them to make sure that they're done, you're going to leave them in the pan to cool off for 10 minutes and then invert them, which means flip them out onto a wire rack to cool the rest of the way, okay? So while those are cooking, and I better set a timer or else I'll forget. Okay, so while those are cooking, you can go ahead and make your custard that's gonna go in the middle. And then your custard also has to cool in the refrigerator. So it's a good idea to probably make it while it's cooking. Hopefully by the time the cake is cooled off, the custard will be cooled off, okay? All right, so for the custard, you're gonna need a saucepan. And you are going to combine, let's see, how much milk is it? So you need 1 cup of whole milk. Plus, let me get this lid back on here. So plus another 1/2 cup, is it? Yes, 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Okay. Now you can also do a full 1.5 cups of whole milk if you want. Or if you don't have heavy cream. But if you do that, then at the end you have to melt in 1 tablespoon of butter, which I will try to remember to mention at the end, okay? So you're gonna go ahead and put this in there. Set that to the side. Then you're also gonna need to add to this 2 tablespoons of sugar. And so here's the thing with this. So for the sugar, you're gonna need 1/4 of a cup altogether, okay? So you're gonna be taking 2 tablespoons out of that 1/4 of a cup. So I'm gonna take it actually out. Hopefully I won't make a huge mess, but I might. Out of the 1/4 of a cup, which probably took a little bit more, but that's okay. So 1. Is this, oh, that's a 1/2 tablespoon, sorry. That's actually 1. 1.5. And then I'm gonna do a little bit less than a full one because some of it kind of fell in there, okay? There we go. So it leaves about, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of that 1/4 of a teaspoon left. Okay, so you're gonna put that in there. Then you're also gonna put some cornstarch in here, which you are going to need 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Now, as you notice, I don't have my flame on yet, so don't have this part, don't have it turned on or nothing yet, okay? You wanna get everything in here before you do that. So there's 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons, okay? Are you gonna add salt? Yes, then you're also gonna add some salt, and it just says a pinch. So let's see if I can get a pinch out of here. Well, kind of just did a pinch on its own. There we go. Okay, so a pinch of salt. All right, so now once you've gotten these in here, you're gonna go ahead and mix this up until the cornstarch is dissolved, okay? Still, don't have it turned on. So you're mixing this without heating it up, okay? So we're just gonna mix this all together. Might be better for this part with a wire whisk to get that mixed up. So let's get that out. There we go. I think it'll get the clumps out better. Once you get this all mixed up, you're really not gonna notice the difference. It's still basically just gonna look like milk. Might be a little bubbly from mixing it up. Make sure all that cornstarch gets nice and dissolved. Okay. Looks like it is. Okay, so basically I just have foamy milk. That's kind of what it looks like here, you guys. Just some foamy milk, okay? All right, so now once you've got that all mixed up, you got the cornstarch dissolved in there. I'm gonna make sure I got the sides done. You are going to need in a little bit 3 egg yolks, 3 large egg yolks. So if you wanna do that while this is starting to heat up, but you are supposed to stir this constantly, so you might wanna do that before you start heating up your cornstarch mixture here, okay? All right, so what you're gonna do now is you are going, and you're also gonna want this in a little separate container that's gonna be big enough to add a little bit to it, because you are gonna add a little bit of this liquid to it before you add it into the pan, okay? Just thought I'd say that. Okay, so now you're going to turn this on to a medium-high heat. Okay. And you're going to be stirring it constantly until it was hot, but not bubbly, okay? Once you get it hot, so basically you'll start seeing kind of steam come out of it, then you're gonna reduce it to low, and then I'll come back and show you guys what we're gonna do next, okay? So I'll be back in just a few minutes, guys. So I've been stirring this constantly, and it actually is starting to thicken, and it did get nice and warm, but it wasn't bubbling. So what we're gonna do is pour about a half a cup of this slowly into the egg mixture. Let's see if we can here. Here we go. And this is basically just like tempering it to go into the hot. You don't want the egg yolks, you know, turning soupy or starting to cook. So you're gonna kind of tip this in there a little bit. Put about a half a cup in. Okay, I'm gonna put this back down. And I'm just gonna quickly mix this together. There we go, it's good. Okay, so you're gonna keep stirring this constantly, and you're gonna add this egg mixture back in or into the pan. Now remember, stirring it constantly. Also, you're on low heat, okay? We're just gonna keep slowly putting that in there, stirring it in, getting it done. Here we go. Okay, so you're gonna then turn this back up. Hold on, let me make sure I get that all stirred in. You're gonna turn this back up to a medium-high heat again, stirring it constantly still. And you're gonna heat it until it thickens and begins to boil. So mine was already thickening before I even put it in the eggs, okay? So we're just gonna see if we can get it to boil here. And it does say that once it does start to thicken, that it needs to be handled gently. So, you know, I'm whisking it, but I'm not beating it. I'm just kind of going around in circles just to make sure. If you do it too hard, you can make it so that it won't keep thickening, okay? All right, so keep stirring it. Oh, and it is boiling, you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and shut that off, okay? Okay, so you're gonna remove the pan from the heat. Then you're going to add 1/2 of a teaspoon, can't say teaspoon today. So let me make sure I have that. Yeah, 1/2 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You're gonna put that in there and you're gonna mix that up. Now at this time too, if you did not add the heavy cream at the beginning and you did all whole milk, then now is the time you're gonna go ahead and add your 1 tablespoon of butter and then basically just stir it until the butter is melted and combined in there, okay? So now what we're gonna have to do is strain this custard through a sieve, which kind of get the feeling it's gonna be a little bit hard. So I'm gonna grab my sieve here, which is right here, and let's grab a bowl. That one should be big enough. All right, let's see how this does. I get the feeling it's gonna be harder than I think. Okay, make sure there's nothing in this sieve here. Looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna use my spatula. I'm gonna put some in here. And let's say, does it say to like, just says to use a rubber spatula to push it through. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put it all in here. Oop, fell down. Make sure it doesn't come out. I think we're good. So this is supposed to smooth out the custard, I guess. Oh my, what are you two doing? My cats are play fighting. Okay. So you're just gonna take your rubber spatula and just kind of keep pushing it down through the sieve here. Is that even coming out? Yep, it's coming out. Oh yeah, it's coming out, okay. So you're gonna keep pushing it through the sieve. Sieve, I don't know if it's sieve or sieve. I always probably say it the wrong way. It's actually going pretty good. That's not too bad. It's actually, yeah, it's pretty going down in there. I'm gonna lift it up off the bowl because it's getting stuck in the stuff in the bowl. So just keep using a rubber spatula, smash it down in there. Sometimes I'll kind of swipe the bottom too. Okay, we're almost done already. So this is good. I've had some things where it said, oh, put it through a sieve, and yeah, it would not go through the sieve. I don't know what they were talking about. Okay, is this a good swipe here? Okay, so I've almost got this done. So once you get it all pushed through, well, all you're gonna do is cover this with plastic wrap and then refrigerate it until it's cold, okay? And right now it looks like our cakes have about 5.5 minutes left on them. So yeah, they should hopefully both be cooled off about the same time. And I'm done, it's all done. Hopefully they'll get cooled off at the same time and we can just come back and put the cake together, okay? So you guys, I will be back as soon as the cake is done. Don't forget, once it is done, to pull it out of the oven and let it cool off in the pan for 10 minutes and then flip it out onto a cooling rack and let it cool completely, okay? So I'll be back as soon as all of this is cooled off and ready to be assembled. Oh my gosh, you guys. So I went to go clean stuff up while I was waiting for everything to get done and looked down and my rest of my sugar was still here in the measuring cup. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't add that. Where was it supposed to go? I didn't read it. So I had to read back through the instructions and we were supposed to actually beat this into the eggs first before we added the hot custard to it so that we could add it back into the custard. So now I'm just gonna try to carefully add it in now. Hopefully it won't ruin it. I don't know. If it does, well, we'll just kind of have a not as great custard, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully if I do this slowly, it'll mix it in and not ruin it too much. It might not make it as smooth because we already sieved it, but that's okay. So if you're making this, add the rest of your egg. After you add the 2 tablespoons to the custard, add the rest of the 1/4 cup of sugar to your eggs and beat it in there, okay? believe I did that. Oh, wow. Okay, so I went ahead and added it. Let's hope it turns out okay and it doesn't ruin the custard, okay? So maybe we can we give it a try? Still tastes good. We're A-okay, I think. All right, putting this back in the fridge to cool off. So I'll be back when we're ready to assemble. Okay, you guys. So now these are both cooled. So here's our custard and then both of our cakes, and they're all cooled off. Okay, I do need a spoon here though to put this on there. Okay, so what you're gonna do is either on, I'm just using a plate. You could use a cake plate or a cardboard that you would put cakes on, whichever way you're gonna do this. You're gonna take one of the cakes and you're gonna put the top side down so that's gonna be flat on top, okay? So you're gonna put that down on the plate, okay? Get this out of the way here. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna spread the custard over the cake until it's about a 1/2 inch away from the edge. I think maybe I should have stirred the custard up a little bit. It's a little bit stuck together, probably from being in the fridge. Okay. So I'm just gonna put, did we just put all this? I think if you just put all this on here, it might just be there. Just try to leave a 1/2 inch around the edge. Sticking. Okay. So we've almost got this. Yeah, see, pretty much you just kind of lay it around. It kind of takes up the whole cake anyway, so that works too. Okay. Make sure we got all the holes filled in, and then I want to get it into close to a 1/2 inch of the edge of the cake if I can. Okay. There we go. That looks good. Okay, so then you got it looking like that, okay? All right, then you're gonna take the other cake and you're going to put it so that the top side is up, okay? Go. Okay, now you're gonna dust this with a little bit of powdered sugar or confectionery sugar or whatever you call it. Excuse my son. Oh my gosh. Really? Okay. All right, here we go. So, it looks really pretty. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep this refrigerated if you're not gonna serve it right away. And even if you're gonna serve it pretty quickly, it needs to come up to room temperature. So like I just pulled my custard out of the fridge, so it's pretty cold. So probably it would need to sit out at room temperature for a little bit before I served it. So I'm not serving it until later tonight. So I will probably pull it out around dinner time so that it can warm up and then we can have it after dinner. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep it refrigerated. But here it is, you guys. It looks really cute. I love these little sponge cakes. They're pretty easy. And you can make them look pretty fancy. Now you can serve this with like whipped topping on it, whipped cream, whatever you want to call it, on the top. And so the only thing left to do is to try it. I just want to try a little tiny piece, get a little bit of the custard and a little bit of the cake in there so we can kind of get a taste for it, but still not make the cake look funny. A little bit more custard maybe. Here we go. Okay, so let's, oh, I'm dropping it. Let's try this and see how it tastes, you guys. Okay. Oh, that's really good. So even though I forgot to put the sugar into the eggs originally and I mixed it into the custard later, still tastes delicious. So that worked out really well. It tastes a lot to me like vanilla pudding. Maybe a little bit stiffer of a vanilla pudding, but that's pretty much what the custard tastes like. So it's kind of like a cake with vanilla pudding in the middle. It's really good. Tastes delicious. Okay. All right, you guys, so that is it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. Like and subscribe if you like, or don't if you don't. Everyone have a good day. Enjoy your cooking. Keep your kitchen messy, and your hands, I guess. And we'll see you later. Bye.